18 players, and welcome back. We're going to be doing another best ball on underdogs today. And knowing that we're doing this before free agency, before the NFL draft, hell, watching it live, this is before even the Super Bowl. One of the things that we're going to be diving into the next couple of episodes, the next couple of drafts we do here, is getting to the fact that, you know what? Every team is going to turn over by about 40%. It happens every year in the NFL. It's the norm. And each offseason, there's a trend, sometimes multiple trends, as far as what does the GMs want to put on their roster and what is more desirable. And as a result of knowing and being ahead of those trends, you can really identify huge value now because the GMs themselves are going to value this trait, this coverage style, etc. And one trend that to me is going to blow off the charts is a wild change in the priorities of running back skills. So for the longest time, the number one
family.
The number one trait of any running back was ball catching and blocking. Are you going to be able to be an asset in the passing game? And I firmly believe that I'm going to call this the Saquon effect is now on, especially if they win the Super Bowl. It's all going to come down to breakaway speed. Philadelphia got this far because Saquon was, if you got 2 inches on him, he got you a 60-yard touchdown. Mm-hmm. And there's not too many running backs in the league that can do that. But I do believe that that trait is going to be overpaid for and overdrafted. And because of both of those facts, you are going to have an extra emphasis of using them when time comes around. So that's what we're going to be doing here for this draft and for the
Penguins
upcoming.
Are struggling, though, family.
Emphasizing the speed, baby. Emphasizing the speed. Family, I love that you'd throw off Bob in half a comment, and you just got that right in there. Well, you guys are the best. You guys know how to get in Bob's head.
Steve, you're gonna see right here. There's a lot of pathways to go, Steve. To be honest with you, we're gonna be pulling up an Underdog Best Ball draft big board here in a moment. Mm-hmm. Having picked 10 in a fresh dynasty draft that is super flexed, I think it's going to be very apparent that you are going to probably see the first 4 out of the first 7 picks be quarterbacks.
Easily.
To be honest with you. And it's not the fact that, if I'm starting the dynasty league and I have the choice of a super flex and I'm sitting in those top 4 picks, there's only maybe 1 or 2 players that you can talk me that's not a quarterback at that point in time.
See, Bob and I are very different, for at least for the front 7. I agree with him for the front 7. But, Steve, where I'm at here, and like I said, we're going to get into this as this draft is filling up right now. Where I am at with you here is if you're at 10, you're going to have a chance to get the first, really 4 of the top position players off the board. So if I can come out for going quarterback, but if I can come out and get Bijan and Gibbs or Bijan and Chase or Bijan and J. Jeff, any combination like that, you will be so far ahead because the realistic fact is that someone in the 3rd pick is going to go quarterback. And that second quarterback for return on investment is going to be ass. But you're going to be able to have 2 studs to build around. The way, man. It's the way.
As Joe talks about that, I just want to make sure that I'm right in assuming this, Steve, because I want to give you the best advice possible. When you say reverse snake, are you saying a 3rd round reversal? I just want to be clear. Is it just a typical snake draft that we're working with here, or are you doing a 3rd round reversal of fortunes there? As far as it goes,
family, I'm saying once you're not on that quarterback train, you punt until there's 20 off the board, and then you get them in like the 8th and the 9th. Get your studs, the quarter, because you're going to be ending up with the crap quarterbacks anyway. Okay. What's the difference of getting them in the 3rd or getting them in the 6th? Get better value.
So, Joe, we're dealing with a 3rd round reversal here. So
what the hell's a 3rd round reversal, Bob? I need you to explain a 3rd round reversal here.
Keeping that in mind. This doesn't make sense. For example, if you have the first pick in a draft that has a 3rd round reversal, you get the first pick and the 24th pick. Okay.
Yep.
Then the next round, you get the 36th pick. It's a reversal of the order. And then the next round after that, you get another thing there. Okay, like that's what we're saying. But family, in regards to this,
Bob, I don't understand how that's different than a normal snake draft. I'm sorry, I'm missing a core concept.
Okay, so in a normal snake draft, you're getting pick 1, pick 24, pick 25 if you're sitting at pick 1 overall in a 12-team league. Okay.
Yeah.
In a third round reversal, you are pick 1, pick 24, pick 36,
and then 37.
Then 37. Yes.
Okay, so it's just you're swapping with the 1 and 12 guy, but those two picks are still a snake.
I agree with family on this. In a Superflex Dynasty League, Joe, there is not going to be a lot. I agree that there's a sense of that you can do a little bit of punting here. But I do think that the family's right here, and I do feel the same way, that when it's a Superflex, you will see very quickly, Steve, that there is not much room for error in the quarterback department. Quarterbacks go really fast. Even the most average of quarterbacks go super fast. So insofar as that is
and Bob,
true,
we're on the clock.
I want
Shit,
Jamar.
We're on the clock. I didn't even realize it's going to be Bijan or Chase. Who do you want?
I want Jamar. Yeah.
Damn, I was too late.
Oh,
I was
dude,
too busy getting the settings.
Killing me.
That was on the settings, Bob. I apologize for that.
Stop queuing up shit, okay?
Dude, that wasn't queued up. Shit. That wasn't even queued up. That was pushing the button too slow.
Anyway, family, let me break this down for Steve because I'm in agreement with you. If you wait too long in a super flex league, you aren't really getting anything, or anything of value per se.
That's true.
So if it's me, and I'm drafting at the 9th pick or the 10th pick in a super flex league, one of my first 2 picks is going to be a quarterback. I want to get a quarterback that has some value. Now, you have to make a decision about where that value is going to be at for you. But I do want to get a quarterback, especially with a 3rd round reversal, because if I had just a typical snake draft, like typical drafting, maybe.
Yeah, but the 3rd round reversal is going to give him the 3rd pick of the 3rd round.
So maybe if we're going down here, hold on.
So he's actually really benefiting from this reversal because he has the 3rd last pick of the 1st round, but then he'll have the 3rd pick of the 3rd round.
Here's what I might do. For you, Steve. If I were in your position, maybe I go something like this. If available, Gibbs will not be available. Bijan will not be available.
I don't know about that. He's at 10, and if 6 quarterbacks go, one of the 4 studs who went first 5 in this draft will be there.
Yeah, you're probably going to get a chance. And family, let Steve know what you think is going to be the guys that would be available. I think you're definitely going to be able to get one of those top 5 wide receivers, and I might even go after 2 of them. So if we're looking at how it would fall, you're looking at probably 4 quarterbacks in the first 7 picks, followed by Saquon, then Bijan. That's 7, or that's 6. Then you got Jamar. That's 7. You're saying that Justin Jefferson and probably Puka, 8, 9. Maybe you get Gibbs at 10. Maybe not. Maybe you get Puka at 10 coming back around. I think you'd be able to land yourself Brian Thomas Jr. Then at your reversal position, then you can tackle a quarterback at the reversal position. But I think you're going to need to go get 2. I honestly think you're going to need to go get 2 quarterbacks, Steve. Double tight end. What a terrible strategy early on.
Yeah, so terrible.
What a terrible
Bob,
strategy.
I'm looking at this here with four guys left. Here's my short list of who I'd want here. Ladd, JT, Higgins, or Bucky.
Looking at here, I would want actually, Joe, when it comes to the 3rd round here, if AJ Brown is still there, I want AJ Brown.
In this pick or the next one?
Nah, he's gone. I just know. Sorry.
Yeah, he's gone. Sorry.
So
I would want Ladd here, and then either Bucky or Scary Terry on the turn.
Let's go Ladd, and then let's go. I don't want Terry on this team really, but
I'm good with no Terry.
But
if you do Terry, you might be able to get Daniels though. It's hard to get that Washington stack.
Yeah, go Terry. Go Terry. If Terry's there, go Terry. If not, go Tyreek.
All right.
Yeah, this Steve, I think as a note, a Knicks May combination in a super flex is not a bad combination. Having two passing quarterbacks that just pass and not a lot of rushing stuff is also a good call here. You're really going to see in these super flex leagues, especially dynasty, a lot of these younger quarterbacks going a little bit higher. So maybe you don't get Drake May. Maybe Mayfield falls to you as a people think of like, oh, where is that future going to sit at for him? But you're definitely going to see Josh Allen, Lamar, Jane Daniels, and Jalen Hurts all go in that top 7 picks.
So you're good with Scary Terry over Bucky?
Yeah, I'm good with that. Because here's the thing, family. In a dynasty superflex, you really don't want to be walking yourself into the 5th, 6th, 7th round and have to deal with like Geno, Stafford, Trevor. I'm willing to do that in best ball because there's a lot of different options in best ball. But I really do think that you need to there, because here's the thing. A lot of these positional things that we're talking about, and when we apply them to super flex leagues, good players are going to drop regardless, but the quarterbacks are going to die off really quick, Joe. So that's one of the markets that I think you can't delay. I was in the super flex best ball on Underdog.
So here's my thing with this reversal that you're having here, Steve. So you're going to have
I like
10,
that family.
15, and 27. So my answer would be at 10 and 15, go get the 2 best positional players. At 27, yeah, quarterback's going to be picked over, but you're going to have a competitive advantage. And back to one of the things the family said earlier, if you wait to the 9th round, you're going to be stuck with, your cars of the world. You accept that. I mean, that's part of the doing business. You just win everywhere else. Yeah, okay, Bo Nix isn't the worst guy to get in.
But I don't think you can
27th
accept it.
pick.
Is the problem. You do not, like, here's the thing.
Well, then get Bo. Then get Nix at 15. But the point is, you already have Jamar Chase on your roster. Because I'm telling you, the guy who goes 1 and 24 and takes 2 quarterbacks, you will be ahead of. You just will be.
Yeah, I mean, there's a conversation to be had. As I said
getting
earlier,
a positional player who gives you above 20 regularly is more valuable than that bottom halfway quarterback that's going to be, maybe he gets you 15, like Mahomes. Mahomes is a guy who would go name rec way too high.
Yeah. Where do I think I think we talked a little bit about Tyreek on the show last time on Monday. I think
he stays in Miami.
When it comes to Tyreek, there's a very good articles out there that I've read, but my instinct, I think that he'll return to Miami. I think that he'll probably finish out his career in Miami, but there is always that inkling in the back of your mind that there has been chatter and there has been people that have come up that have said, hey, maybe he decides to go back to Kansas City. And Kansas City has Rashi and Xavier Worthy. Maybe that's not an option anymore. But I don't see in Tyreek's mind, like just taking it from Tyreek, I don't see a win now place for Tyreek that necessarily would want to pay for Tyreek.
And that's the issue. So we'll dive into this once we go on the other side of our 2 picks.
Yeah, and we'll get to
I got Rishi as the top guy on my board, and I'd like you to break down 3 rookie running backs I'm going to throw at you. Who has the best breakaway speed between Hampton, Caleb Johnson, and Trayvon Henderson? Of course, there with Tyreek up the board, we're going to mix things up a little bit too. But of that grouping, who would you rather have? Omar Hampton, Caleb Johnson, or Trayvon Henderson in terms of raw breakaway, Saquon-like speed and skill?
I mean, nobody has Saquon-like speed and skill.
Well, let's just stick with the speed.
I don't know if
wow, this guy has just lost this draft.
Yeah, I don't know if I have the metrics yet to kind of give you an accurate answer at that, but I can say that when we're looking at a guy like Trayvon Henderson, Travion Henderson really lines up real well for the NFL, man. I mean, he's
He
athletic.
does.
He's a dual threat weapon, and I'm willing to take a chance on someone who's athletic.
Well,
And
I want him on the team. The question is,
not
which
a
other
question,
rookie do
Matt.
you want on the team? Omar Thompson or Caleb Omar O'Brien Hampton?
Omarion Hampton is an option. I mean, I think that a guy like Caleb Johnson is also
The other one out there
a
is Tree
workhorse as
or
well.
is McMillan the receiver?
Can we get McMillan in one of these picks?
McMillan will be the first one then.
If Travion's the next back that we have, I'd be willing to take Travion right now.
Well, I think we might be able to. Travion's ADP is 68, which is 2 picks before our 6th round pick. McMillan will be the pick here, the rookie. And then we'll see what happens here. But I would like to get 2 of these 3 rookies. And basically, my question for you is Hampton or Johnson, which one? But you saying Henderson is the most NFL ready to you?
Yeah, I think so. Other than Genty, of course.
Well, Genty's already gone.
Yeah, I am okay with. I understand that. I'm just saying, I think Henderson provides us with more.
So Henderson over Hampton and Johnson.
Yeah, in my mind.
All right.
You know, I'm okay with Johnson as well. You know, here, Joe, I'd want
Well, then
to
let's take Johnson because his ADP is higher and see if Henderson comes back. Or do you want to do the opposite?
I want to take Henderson here.
Henderson it is.
Yeah. Rookies have been going a little bit higher than average. I think it's a little bit early for Henderson. You know,
it is. I mean, listen, his ADP is about mid-6th. We took him early 5th, but we also weren't going to get him otherwise.
We could have also taken Jalen McMillan. You know, guys, we love Jalen McMillan here as well, pairing up both of the McMillans.
We still probably will.
In terms of Myles Garrett, Steve, before we get to family's comments here, I really do think that Myles Garrett is, and I said this on, I believe on Monday after the news broke, I really do think that he's going to end up on Washington. Washington has a huge amount of cap space. Mm-hmm. If he's not going to end up on Washington, maybe you can see Dan Campbell up in Detroit taking a chance on them because they have had a lot of injuries on the defensive line, and they would want another. They would want another person. So I mean, just thinking about the way that those teams play ball, like the way that Detroit wants to win the game is through running the ball. And
pick another quarterback or tight end.
And
make
so
the stupidest draft of all time.
What's better for running the ball is to have the ball in your hands. And in order to have the ball in your hands, you want to create pressure. And one of the things that we know about the Lions' back end defense is not that great. So if it's not that great, the best way to help them out is to get pressure up front. And so if they were able to pair Myles Garrett with their young players, I think that would be a hell of a land. You know, they were in discussions. There was discussions in the season that maybe they would go after a guy like Max Crosby. So, you know, I think that if they had the option to take Myles Garrett seems to like playing in the North. I think that would be a wonderful addition for the team. I would put a lot of money down on saying either Washington or Detroit, knowing that Washington has the cap space and they're terrible at defending the run. And if they wanted to win a Super Bowl this year, they needed to do that.
Well, the other part is that if you look at Garrett's contract, it's actually not that bad for the team that receives him. Cleveland is the one who's going to eat most of it. His base salary the next 2 years is almost league minimum, which opens the door to anyone who's willing to pay the draft capital. And this is where I bring another team that's not really talked about a lot out there, but going along with that cold northern feel is Buffalo. Looks like Von Miller's probably getting towards the end, if not out. And Myles Garrett in Buffalo, super scary thought, but makes a whole lot of sense.
They needed to.
They're willing to cut the draft capital check.
They needed to. Family, love this trade for you, man. Where I fall on this is that Connor every year seems to be the guy, like we were saying, that this year he played more games in a year in his career than he's ever done before. He finished a lot of games. He looked really good, but there is a point in time where his body is going to break down. Najee, while he has a lot of wear on the tires through really terrible efficiency, I think that getting a new landing spot that's not Pittsburgh will be vital for Najee's success. I don't think this is an overpay at all, especially considering Connor's age in comparison to Najee's age, in comparison to their usage. I think that's a great trade in actuality. And seeing here that you have Achane, Bucky, James Cook, Najee, and Henry, I mean, a win now team if I've ever seen one before. Like look look at the talent level on that team. Achan's explosiveness potentially back if they get another running back there. Bucky's skill set.
Okay, Bob,
James Cook as
we'll
well.
jump
I
into
love
that
this.
trade breakdown. This is the part where I got to start stopping you. Jalen McMillan is who I'd want to get on this turn. I think we'd be able to get him in the second pick of the turn, though, due to ADP. I'm looking at Jenkins as a guy that I'm liking.
Yeah.
What do you think of the Luther Burden guy?
I'm always willing to take a chance on a trying out different things. I think that rookie wide receivers. I don't want to load my team up with too many rookie wide receivers.
Well, we only have the one now. I'm okay with the rookie running backs that are going to go in the first or second round, though. And Judkins is supposed to.
Yeah, I think I'd be willing to take a chance there.
So Judkins and then Jalen McMillan on the turn.
Yeah, because I mean, this guy has two running backs, 2 wide receivers, so he's kind of like floating it around, like, what's he going to do here? Yeah, because I don't see any value in the. I would regret it. I would regret it, man.
He has 3 running backs already. I'm going to take Jalen McMillan first.
Yeah, I would regret it if we didn't get McMillan there because we haven't got McMillan once yet, and he's our boy.
He is. And I like the Tampa builds.
I know you do. And this is exactly the point, Steve, that I think when we go back to your Superflex question, that's important to note that plays to Joe's point a little bit more is that you don't have to start a quarterback in the Superflex, but most people will option themselves into a quarterback for the Superflex because there's like an implied point total of 18 plus points in a given week. So if you're taking a quarterback whose implied point total is on a given week is going to be less than 18, then you really don't want to put him. You don't really want to up your game to get him in Superflex, right? Like Matt Stafford isn't a guy that I want to push up my board because he's not going to be capable of throwing out 18 plus points on a consistent basis, which is like what I kind of want out of my Superflex position.
And then Judkins is still the pick?
Sure. I'd be okay with that.
I like having young running backs.
And family.
The theme of today's episode was breakaway speed. Obviously, Bijan has that. Travion Henderson looks like he can explode that. And if Judkins can bring that to the table, I don't know enough about Judkins to be blank. But already I like our receiving room. Ladd, Terry, McMillan. We got some volume to both McMillans. We got some volume-based targets here. Bob, I'm really liking how this one's starting out.
Yeah, me too. If this is Derrick Henry.
Let me put this in here. We'll just throw this by you here before you dive into the next round of questions, just for down the field thinking, because eventually we are going to put some quarterbacks on this roster.
You want to know what I see, Joe, that I see in this draft board because I've talked to you not to do it, is you don't see George Pickens here.
Yeah, you did. He's not on the board anymore. Let me make sure about that.
Okay.
George Pickens has been drafted. He was taking at 5'11".
So he went bottom of the 5th. Okay.
Yeah, 59 overall. And we were taking a mid-5th, so I wasn't all that wrong.
I'm actually so in a Superflex dynasty, I think that Henry's cost is going to be a bit unique this year, family, because of the amount of touchdowns and the right situation that he has been on Baltimore. I really do think that he is the better. I would want him over Pickens. You cannot get me to not take Derrick Henry over George Pickens.
For where family's at, I agree with that because family's in win now. And Henry is the win now option. I do believe that Pickens is a great long-term play. Oh, that sucks. I wanted to do a Baker Bow turn. But I really do think that
didn't they?
Because the way your team is built. And I also make the argument in Dynasty, there are certain players who will try to be in always win now mode, especially in a startup dynasty. Be in win now mode because you never know how long they're going to last for. And you can never take the championship off the wall.
So, family, if it were me, like, I say this a lot, but Pickens right now, value-wise, if I'm constructing a trade to get a wide receiver and I want to use Derrick Henry as the piece in a Superflex dynasty to do that, we all have to kind of understand for the last 2 years, Derrick Henry still provides you really good value for a league, no matter if it's Superflex dynasty or not. His value is still, in my estimation, higher than George Pickens right now. If I'm going after George Pickens in a trade because my wide receivers are weak,
Oh, fuck, there went Bo. All
I
right,
don't
Bob,
think-
this is pause time.
I don't think George
Players I
Pickens
got on my
makes the
short
team
list to
any
go on the
stronger.
board. You need to pause. So right now, your top of your list is Pacheco, Downs, Parasol, Shaheed in New Orleans.
I want Pearsall.
Pearsall's top of my list too.
I want Pearsall. Don't
After
stress about
that,
the quarterbacks, bro. Don't stress about the quarterbacks. Don't worry about it.
Well, we have to put Fields on this team now. After that, I'm kind of seeing a dearth at the running back department until you get to Najee. Like none of these guys are, Dobbins, Charbonnet, maybe Charbonnet, Etienne. I don't want Swift. I don't want. So running backs kind of like we don't need to hit it.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from Parasol, we can go with Golden as the rookie. Cooper Kupp getting Parasol just went. Kupp getting traded to a new team could be interesting because he's not hurt.
I'm okay with Golden here. We're approaching our cap that I usually like to have on rookies.
That would be our second rookie receiver.
Yeah, and Golden is one of those options where I think that if he gets on the right team, maybe he goes to Dallas and maybe he's super successful. If he gets drafted by, Buffalo, maybe he's successful as well. I'm willing to take a chance on Matthew Golden here. I really like the play.
And then would you like to go to the direction of a Kupp or a Najee on the following pick? Again, there's no other real guys. Correction. Taylor Warren's the second pick, the tight end out of Penn State.
Okay, all rooks.
I think he has a chance of blowing up. I might actually want to take him with the first one, but I got it in too late. Taylor Warren will be the second pick coming around.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd rather go tight end here, knowing that we have an option to go tight end.
See, here's the thing. Here's the tight ends available. None of them are sexy. I mean, Kelsey, I don't think is gonna be in the league. The Joker, who does have a quarterback. Warren, who we'll see.
But again, the quarterbacks are the same way. I mean, we've seen this. I mean, like Bo Nix was probably the last quarterback that I would want to take early.
I would have Baker. Ideal world, I would have taken Baker and Bo on that turn. Obviously, it didn't happen.
It didn't happen, but that's okay.
Tyler Warren, I think, is going to have a better years than Bowers did.
Yeah, we just
never. And if we can start getting him in the 8th, 9th, we got to start penciling that in, Bob. He was Penn State's only option.
Yeah.
And looking at the other tight ends he's going around,
well,
Jonnu's the only one who I think can fight with him, and you made a very good pick last week about how Jonnu might not be able to do it if people start giving the ball to Tyreek again. So,
and the other thing is about a guy like Warren, we're getting to a point now where Pitts is probably on his way out of Atlanta, and if they want to take a tight end at some point in time, maybe they go and do this, knowing that Brock Bowers, who was one of the vital pieces for Georgia's success, goes out, performs well. Hey, Tyler Warren, I'm going to drop him into a scheme where we use our tight ends to block. We also use our tight ends to catch. This could be a very successful situation if he ends up on a team like Atlanta. It also could be a successful situation. Denver hasn't had a tight end in a long time that's been like profitable or good. Dulcich was a guy that was on our radar last year. Again, also, Colts need tight end. They should have taken a tight end last year.
Colts need a lot.
And taking a young tight end like this, it goes against our philosophy at times where we think it takes a little bit of time for these tight ends to ramp up. But again, in a best ball league,
Warren's different.
But
just know what I said. Warren is different. Warren might be the best offensive player in this draft.
Like we said on Monday, there's a ton of tight ends on the back end, like a Cole Kmet, a Hunter Henry, that we can pair him with to, go with the ebbs and flows and the ups and downs.
But I do think we need to be done with the rookies, though, Bob. I'm looking at here is that 5
rookies? A lot of rookies,
bro.
This is the first time you're taking a lot of rookies. I've never seen you take this many.
This is the most rookies I've taken by far. There are 5 on our roster.
Yeah, we missed out on Najee. That happens. It's okay.
It's worth it. If Mims can come around, I'd be okay with Mims. Not sure he will or not.
We've locked ourselves into these rookie running backs. So, I mean, that's what it is. We only have 2, or we only have 3. So that's okay. We're there. I'm okay here, Joe.
I'd be looking at like a tanked Bigsby Mims with Mims going first.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe Leggett, if we can't get him. Like, so basically,
I'm
here we're
willing to play with this idea too. I'm willing to play with this quarterback idea, but I still don't see a super. Maybe it comes down to maybe we can take here, Joe, coming up. Maybe you want to do, depending on value, we can get him a little bit later probably. We might want to start thinking about a Leggett stack. We might want to think about where Dak is going if Dak hasn't come off the board in the next couple of rounds, because Golden could go and that could be a nice connection.
well, see, that's the problem with the rookies. You don't know where they're going, so it's hard to get the stacks out of it.
But again,
so
Dak's not a bad
quarterback
choice.
wise. I know I want to put Fields on here, and I wouldn't mind putting Muth and Fields together. But a guy we have not talked about in a very long time because he got hurt, that I would be interested in throwing in this roster, certainly not on this turn.
I love runs. I love making the run.
Is McCarthy.
Nah, I'm not sold on that, man.
I'm sold on his coach developing him.
Yeah,
but I definitely want to take established receiver on this turn. Again, I'm looking at Mims, Dobbs, Hollywood. It's probably Hollywood or Mims.
Are you reading the chat though here? I like families. I thought here because quarterbacks.
Well, Bob, we need picks here before you yell at me for having the queue up.
Nah, I'm okay at this pick. I mean, what's this, round 10?
Yep.
If you want to go the Dak, Michael Penix, Tua, CJ Stroud, Drake May route, Tet is supposed.
All right, so just in listing of the rankings of the quarterbacks, Dak is 3 down, Penix is like 6 down, and Tua is even lower than that.
What about
so that would
May?
be a super reach at this point.
What about Drake May?
I'd rather get an established player like Hollywood, QJ, or Dobbs.
Hollywood's garbage. Dobbs is garbage.
Then QJ would be the starting point here.
Again, garbage. Terrible pick.
See, Paul, this is why you got to answer quicker.
I told you who I wanted. I told you who I wanted 3 picks ago. I said Drake May.
May is way too early for this, but fine.
I get what you're saying.
I hit May.
I get what you're saying here, but
I still think Drake May is too garbage for this.
Every prognostication is building up that Teteroa McMillan is going to go to New England. Drake May has committed egregious turnovers. I get it. I'm there with you. But if you don't like Drake May, I would like to get Penix. I mean, I think that either of those.
I still think we can get Penix. We'll just get him later. I just thought we could get more value here than Drake May.
But I don't think Quentin Johnson's the value that you're thinking.
Well, the problem is there wasn't a whole lot of value of anywhere there. It was
that's
kind of
why you don't pick him. I mean, like, because now that limits what we can take. Options
doesn't limit at all, Bob.
There's actually
2 rounds in this.
Because if you're going to do this, you might as well have just taken Justin Herbert because you have 2 Chargers wide receivers. So why didn't you just do that?
May at least gives you running abilities.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you locked us into 2 wide receivers and you're not making the stack. Like, that doesn't like
Herbert still will be on the board when we come back, Bob.
It's a good enough stack, not a great stack, but it is what it is.
Well, we don't have any Minnesota guys, do we?
No, that's the thing. Like, if you're pairing up Minnesota guys, the only 2 guys, there's 3 guys there. It's Hawk, Addison, and JJ. We didn't. I don't want to build JJ McCarthy at all, if that's the case, because I don't know. Like, seeing him versus Darnold, maybe he posts like 4 touchdown games, but I think he probably settles into that 2 touchdown game. The reason I like Drake May there, Joe, is that he does provide you with a little bit of rushing upside. The team is going to go out and get a running game this offseason. They're not going to sit around with Ramondre Stevenson again.
It's going to be one of those rookies we already drafted.
And I really do think that, like I said to everybody on Monday, that I don't really like this zone of taking quarterbacks. So it's a little bit uncomfortable for me to take a quarterback here. But if I'm going to take a quarterback, I think that Drake May, out of the quarterbacks in this round that are being taken, that Drake May and Dak put their head and shoulders above the rest in terms of the potential that is there on the table for them to be successful. Because we have seen Kyler Murray and we have seen Trevor Lawrence post consistent sub 18 point totals on a week-to-week basis. It doesn't make any sense to take those two guys unless you're pairing them with Marvin Harrison Jr. or Brian Thomas Jr. Even if you are, those two quarterbacks are not the way you want to go with this. And that's why I'm willing to take a chance on a guy like Drake May. I would love if Michael Penix came back to us here. Would be nice.
I'm fine with it. Unless Legette's there, I'm fine with this pick being Penix.
Did Darnell Mooney go off the board already, Joe?
Yes, he did.
Okay. I wasn't paying attention.
He's gone.
I figured you would have picked him.
Yeah. Mooney would have been ahead of QJ, quite frankly.
Right.
But
yeah, that's why I was confused. And I know you like Legette more than QJ too. That's why.
Someone did jump at Legette. That is or Penix. That is so far above his ADP.
See? He told you. Family told you, man. He told you to start a run, man. Just start a run. We need another. Yeah, I agree with this. Playing the board, Joe, this first pick, if you want it to be a quarterback, because the other guy behind us doesn't have one yet.
The guy in the first pick does have one. His quarterback is Mahomes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so maybe he doesn't. We'll see.
Either way, the quarterback is going to take his Fields. I don't think Fields is going off the board on this turn.
Legette just went.
Oh, shit. There went Legette. All right. We need to figure something out here then, Bob.
I'd be okay.
Your top rated player right now is Romeo Dobbs.
I'd be okay with a Bryce Young, Jalen Coker, to be honest with you. Little early, but.
Well, Young is about the ballpark. But I'd rather do Fields to have him on my team first. And then Young.
I think it's out of order, but okay.
I don't think it would have. I Fields to me is a higher value ticket than Young, but I don't really think that it would have mattered with only the turn anyway. We got them both.
Right. Good.
So we're done at quarterback now. Now it's just about fluttering in some stacks.
Let's dissect this for everybody watching right now. You have not seen us go, I believe, 3 in a row quarterbacks before, and we've talked about how doing something like this, Joe was just talking about, the guy up top taking Lamar and Jalen Hurts, and you might be asking yourself, well, what's the fundamental difference in this strategy as opposed to that strategy? So, Joe, if you go back up and look at that that Hurts and Lamar stack, so we can just see it for a moment.
Here's
so this Hurts Lamar stack, right? You scroll down that list. Who's their first running back? Do they even have one yet? It's DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift might not even be the starter for that team next year. So
he's not.
You look at it and you say to yourself, okay, Lamar and Hurts both position themselves to be quarterbacks that can consistently or very consistently score plus 20 points. Jalen Hurts wasn't that this year. Lamar was. Going down to our quarterbacks, while the name isn't the same, the point totals can rise to similar stretches. You look, and just taking into account Drake May so far, and I'm not going to look at all of his starts this year, but if you go to most of his starts, he pinged 3 20-point plus games at a point in time this season. Fantastic, right? You're looking at it and say, okay, great. How many times did Jalen Hurts do that? Not as consistently, maybe not as many at various points in time, but he did ping over 30 points. Primarily, that's due to his rushing totals. So we are losing out on about 6 points in our quarterback room by taking quarterbacks this late, but also coming up with the value there. I think this is the way to go about it this year. Waiting until the point, if you're not taking one of Jaden Daniels, Lamar, whatnot, wait until after the Brock Purdy's, unless you're building a stack, and go and hit a home run with one of these 3 guys. Bryce Young looked really good at the end of the year. I am not a fan of Bryce Young, but he looked really good at the end of the year.
You got to give him credit because he actually did own it, which is not something that I foresaw happening.
Oh, he owned it because he looked like garbage. Hot garbage.
Yes, he did.
All right, let's plan. What are we taking? This is round 14.
So here are the 3 guys or the 4 guys I have a short list
There goes
before
Komet.
our second pick.
Okay.
All of them are ADP about there. Coker, Algier, Freiermuth, and Hunter Henry. Give us some stacks. Algier's obviously the protection on Bijan, and Coker, the other ones are all stacks.
Coker and Henry are what I want.
All right, well, we'll see if we can get them.
Henry probably second.
Coker has to be first. His ADP was a round ago.
Yeah, Freiermuth, man. Freiermuth just went. Freiermuth is a solid pick. That would give us a nice back end valuable stack enough. Not super valuable, but
I'm going to throw Roman Wilson on the last pick.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Here comes Roman Wilson again. Chat, if you've seen any show from this summer, Joe was bonerific for Roman Wilson, and the guy didn't even see the field. It was terrible.
Well, he got hurt. Injuries happen.
Absolutely terrible.
So you'd rather do Hunter Henry than Algier?
Yeah, I don't see any.
Well, Algier won anyway, so there it goes.
I don't see any value in Algier unless Bijan gets hurt, and we have by taking Bijan in the first round, we have to not have him get hurt. So there's no use in taking insurance on Bijan.
So we have 5 picks left. We have taken 2 tight ends. We're done at quarterback.
Yeah, Team 6 is the one that did Hurts and Lamar.
We need to get some running backs on this roster.
And 2 tight ends early. Granted, you can start those 2 tight ends with the flex. Yeah, Harold Fannin Jr. is climbing up a lot of boards. He's getting a lot of love from a lot of people recently. Man, Troy Franklin, Wandale, Dontavian Wicks, Amari Cooper. None of those guys in a half PPR are ever going to go feel like they're going to go above 15 on a consistent basis. Wow.
Nope. And that's the other thing with Underdog. They're half PPR. You got to keep that in mind.
Wandale in half PPR is not great.
So not a tight end backfield, but I am going to throw Trayvon Sanders on this roster at the back end at some point.
Jatavion. Yeah. Yeah, Wandale Robinson in half PPR only got 15 points once this season. That's a terrible pick. Even if they get another quarterback there, oh God.
So Bob, my ideal picks on this come around is going to be Jordan Mason and Trayvon Sanders.
You mean Jatavion Sanders?
Yeah, Tavion Sanders. You know who the hell I mean, the rookie from Carolina, that tight end
from last year. Also, Joe, I want to put this to you. I know we haven't taken him a lot yet. If he's not taken, I think our wide receiver room is kind of solid here.
Well, we have 7 of them, so let's hope so.
I'd be willing to also think about where the value would be at for a guy like Malik Washington if Tyreek doesn't return. Nick Westbrook-Akine flashed this year at certain points in time as well instead of Roman Wilson. Just kind of get you thinking of that.
Yeah, I'll throw them on some back end good guys.
I see what you're going with here, and you are feeling how I felt in last offseason. Last offseason, I was really with it on the Wandale Robinson train, pairing him with Daniel Jones pretty late. And I would be, if I were taking Shadur at this value, maybe I would try to also buy into Wandale. But I think what needs to be made.
Mason. Okay.
What I think needs to be made a point with Wandale is Wandale was a PPR king, especially on DraftKings at certain points in time with the bonuses. If he's not getting any bonuses, if he's not getting if he's getting 7 catches on 10 targets in half PPR and only getting 40 yards and no touchdown, there's really still no value there. He's not being looked at for that. So I'm out on Wandale in half PPR, but I am in on him in full PPR. There's just really no value because they couldn't move the ball. Maybe they moved the ball better this year. To your point about Shadur, maybe they move it better. Joe, I'm not used to you playing it so loosey goosey at running back. This is a unique circumstance.
Yeah,
here.
but we're really not though. I mean, we got Bijan, which means I only need to hit on one of these other ones. Now, granted, Jordan Mason would have been the pick there. There's a lot of late running backs that I really am a fan of that people have forgotten about. And quite frankly, they're going to be 3 of the next 4 picks. Correction, we only have 3 picks left.
Two out of the next
Jonathan
3.
Brooks will be on this roster. Justice Hill will be on this roster.
Kendrick Miller just went. Oh, he's my boy.
Kendrick Miller's a guy I've really fallen out of love with, without lack of a better way of putting it. I think he's going to get rookie replaced. He's going to be fighting a 5th-round rookie.
I know he is. He really is. I mean, here's the thing, though, family. Joe really loves Bijan, but sitting at that 2-hole, Jamar was the pick, and it just didn't.
Quite frankly, that was from me loading the whole thing up. Jamar should have been the first pick, and over Barkley.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm all for that for sure.
But Barkley should be about the 4th to 8th pick, not the 1st. Barkley should go behind Gibbs, Chase, and Bijan.
We have 8 wide receivers, right?
Our receivers, yes, we do have 8. They are Ladd, Scary Terry, McMillan, Golden, QJ, Coker, and Washington. So we got a good blend of high floor and all or nothing types.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in love with it, but I will say that having that from that position is not bad because, you have to assume that there's a point in time where maybe LA goes out and tries to find another wide receiver to consistently complement Ladd. Maybe they go out and buy into another tight end or something of that nature. The framework of that team has to change just a bit. Yeah, that was so sad. So sad. Yeah, there's something to say about that. When it comes to what's going to happen to Jamar. And here's the thing. This is kind of like the conversations that we have all been having about like A.J. Brown this past season as well. And with the arrival of Saquon Barkley, right, is because you can look at the framework of how a team runs their shells and you can look at how like they're using their defensive players and coverages and stuff. But one of the things that was very apparent, as you're going to see it this week as well, is a team might have a tendency to run too high or single high safety. And it's something we saw with Miami as well, Joe, where they adjusted to Tyreek. And because they adjusted to Tyreek, it left the field open for Jonnu. And this is to Joe's point about a guy like Mike Gesicki at tight end. If they don't go out there and get another wide receiver, another tight end or something like that, teams are going to learn eventually how to cover Jamar. Jamar is head and shoulders one of the best wide receivers in the He's one of the best wide receivers in the league, if not the best wide receiver. Right,
you're not covering him. They don't know how to cover Jeff either.
Here's the thing. To the comment here, one of the things.
There are literally no running backs left.
Take someone. I mean,
I'm going to be taking Jonathan Brooks. The question is, what's the other pick?
You could take another rookie.
What do you think about Rashard Smith? I know nothing about that guy, or Tootin, or Trevor Etienne. Aside from the fact he's on Georgia, he's impossible to tackle an NCAA. I know nothing about that guy.
Okay, all right. You know what? I'm gonna throw something at you here.
Be fast.
You like Marshawn Lloyd? What about a guy like Emmanuel Wilson from the Packers as well?
Well, I like Lloyd because he's better, but Emmanuel Wilson, you won him, we got him.
I don't want him. I'm just saying, what about?
Lloyd has his job. Quite frankly, I'd rather go with the rookie. That's what I'm going to do.
You played yourself.
I did.
You played yourself.
This is the weakest running back room we've had yet.
But anyway, to this comment here, what I want to say, though, is that the Steelers will not have the skill players to beat Lamar or to beat Jamar or cover Jamar twice a season, even if he's double covered. Cleveland will similarly have difficulties, and other teams will have difficulties. So while the shells and stuff will change to accommodate the player and the team that they're facing, like I was saying about Philly this week, Kansas City often runs too high. They're going to probably run single high to put another man in the box to stop Saquon. A.J. Brown's one of the best players against single high. But the question is, will they be able to get it to him, which they've had a problem with over the course of the year? So I don't see that same problem for Jamar, but I do think it's a good consideration to have Terrence about that. I really do. It's a concern, but it's not a huge concern right now if you're drafting at this moment in time. But it will be on teams' minds. It will definitely be on teams' minds because you have to also look at it. How many games did he play without T. Higgins and still was a stud? A bunch. So, I mean, there is to say a lot of information about that. Family. I liked Malik Washington, talking about Malik Washington. But that
you talked me into him.
I didn't talk so hard about it, but it should have been a running back there. Again.
I know if we were going to get Washington, he was going to be the pick. Now we're just running out of now. To be totally blunt, I never thought Marshawn Lloyd was going to be off our board.
That's fine.
I thought we were getting Lloyd and Brooks on those two turns. So now we're just another running back deeper playing rookie roulette, and quite frankly, that's where we're at. So Bob, give me a quick little rookie report
we made
between Tootin and Trevor Etienne.
Trevor Etienne.
Because if not, my tiebreaker's going to the dog.
The Etiennes have a cooler name.
He's impossible to tackle in NCAA. That part is real. What's that?
Tyler Beatty. Tyler Beatty from Denver as a potential option. I think Denver goes out and actually gets a running back this year. So I don't think
Denver's 100% getting. They're getting the one from Boise. They're getting the running back.
Yeah, this is why I want to reiterate. Family says it so well in the chat here. This is why we advocate for backfill tight end. I would rather be taking a chance on Mike Gesicki, Taysom Hill, Tyler Higbee, Chig Akanapo.
Yeah, Ben Stennett, we'd have no problem
to figure
right
out
now.
What running back is going to hit right now.
Yeah, Ben Stennett is the best last pick in the draft.
I don't even want another running back here. There goes Ben Stennett.
We have to pick another running back here.
Come on. We don't have to.
Sure we do. We only have 5, first of all. You need to have 6. And we're playing roulette with Bijan and then 4 rookies and Jonathan Brooks.
You know what?
So
you could buck the trend. Take Sean Tucker. Buck the trend.
That was the right way to go with that. So at the end of the day, we do have 2 rookies who are going to get drafted in the second round.
And
we got 2 wild card rookies at the end, and Jonathan Brooks, who was the first running back taken last year.
And this is the thing. We are doing these shows to show everybody what your potential options are when you run into a best ball draft like this. We have who we like. We have everybody that we know. But there is a point in time where certain strategies can pay off better than others. And I really do think this year that a backfill of tight ends in these final 3 rounds are most likely going to provide you a longer term value, especially understanding that you're going to go out there and take really good running backs up there as well. And you could take those rooks as well. But the likelihood that Trevor Etienne or Brashard Smith come in during the first 6 weeks is not going to be relevant.
Oh no, they have to be an end of the year injury.
They're going to be an end of the year investment. And if I'm looking at end of the year investments, are they the worst investments? No, but they definitely don't give me a lot of faith that our running back room is going to take us to the end. Especially considering that in half PPR, you do want your second running back to probably get you at least 12, 14, 15 points in a given week. And I don't think any of our running backs in the first 5 weeks are going to probably get us that.
See, I don't know about that because you get a running back who gets drafted in the second round, you get the ball from day one. And we saw his story. We've seen it across the league.
I mean, if Travion Henderson ends up in New England, not bad, right? I mean, there are a couple Raiders, probably not bad as well. Not a bad landing spot for him there.
There's lots of teams that need a running back. That's why so many are going to go.
Minnesota. If Minnesota takes Travion Henderson, I think we got.
That's a home run.
That's a home run for me. If Travion Henderson or one of our other boys goes to the Chargers, I think we got a home run as well.
The Chargers might be the best destination. But if we look at this, end of the 6th round, we had 4 receivers on the team. We don't normally do that at all.
I love this. I love this.
So family, the reason we did that second tight end in Hunter Henry was the Drake May stack. You know, if we were going to do something different that would have changed this team, instead of taking Drake May, taking Herbie at that pick, then would have given us a stack with both QJ and Ladd. And then probably instead of Henry here, we go with a known running back, Algier. Probably would have been the one that's talking.
I get Joe. I actually think, in all honesty, you know, you were.
I like the team though. It's a fun team.
You were wanting to hold off on a guy like Mason, and I think that, you know, when you get down into these back halves of the drafts, sometimes you do have to take a guy, especially if you're sitting at the top end or the back end of the round, a guy a little bit earlier than you wanted. You were hoping that Mason landed on us.
That's true, but we also had someone make it to us that shouldn't have. Jalen McMillan, we got about 6 picks after ADP.
And
here's another one here.
Let me also
QJ was one of them. Again, about 7 picks after ADP.
Let me also say
Fields is an example of what you said. I took him higher than he should have. Same with Bryce Young.
Yeah.
Coker we took higher than he should. Actually, Coker slid to us. Coker should have gone in the 50s. And we got him at 167.
If we would have not taken Tet, I would probably not have pushed as hard for Drake May where I pushed for him at. Like, that's just you know, if we would have positioned ourselves a little bit differently, I probably wouldn't have pushed for Drake May where I pushed him at. But as you can see, though, 11th round for Drake May, 11th round for Dak is going to provide you similar-ish value on a week-to-week basis. And I'm gonna get crucified for this probably as a Jared Goff in the 8th, if I'm being brutally honest.
Oh yeah, Dak to Goff is going to be basically a push. Goff. So we talked all last offseason about how Laporta was the absolute peak because he had no upside. Goff is the same story for this year. Goff had virtually no downside, no picks, and was converting on everything. Quite frankly, Goff should be the MVP.
Hey, can you scroll up?
For it.
This is family and everybody watching right now. I think if we go back up to the top of the round, yeah, you've seen it over and over again, family. This is why we do these shows. We do these shows so you can see what people are thinking, what people are prioritizing, and the fact what I was saying earlier. If you don't want to go out and grab Josh Allen or Hurts,
family, to my point earlier, because you were yelling at me about the Superflex dynasty when I said wait till the 10th round to get your Superflex quarterback. It's the same argument. You're going to be getting a Justin Fields of the world. Justin Fields was a top 5 quarterback every year. He's never been a starter.
Joe, here's the thing, though. That's different. Superflex rankings. Superflex rankings. When you go to Superflex rankings about quarterbacks, you here, and this is just coming from Fantasy Pros. Just a quick rankings. These are the tiered rankings for Superflex. Okay.
Oh no, I get it. They push everyone up, but the equivalent for Superflex is the 5th round.
No. It pushes everybody up. And I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna blow your mind.
I do a Superflex every year, Bob. Do 2 of them actually.
Jordan Love, QB9.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Pick 15-ish.
That's stupid.
Okay.
No way around
I agree with you. I agree with you. Once you have your first one, you probably can wait a little bit because there's other, like, feeling a team of Joe Burrow, and then Justin Jefferson and guys like, you know, Devin Achane, whatever, much more profitable in terms of like your total output on the season. But the thing is that with these super flex teams, because everybody's taking 2 quarterbacks, 3 quarterbacks, the pool dries up so much faster than everything else. So you can wait a little bit on that value there. In all the reason we were saying about waiting on the 9th, if you're waiting on the 9th round, Ninth round would be approximately what pick, Joe?
The ninth round starts with 97.
Pick 97?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you were to purely go by Fantasy Pros rankings, just as an example, everybody has access to those. If you were to go by Fantasy Pros rankings, the next quarterback to be taken would be quarterback 26, which is Derek Carr. And the point I want to make with that is that if you don't go out there and get a quarterback or two early, you will not win with a quarterback 26. You just won't. So in Superflex leagues, there is a point in time where there is more value in taking a quarterback that has the potential to spike you up 30. I'm not saying Carr can't. He used to be able to. But like, if I was a decision here, and if I already, let's say, Joe, because this is a good experiment. Let's say I am in the first round, right? And I'm pick 10, and I'm sitting there, and I have a choice between Justin Jefferson and Jordan Love. Sure, I'm taking Justin Jefferson, right? No questions asked. Coming back around, if I'm between Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., and Kyler Murray, maybe you can pull my leg to take one of those quarterbacks. Maybe not. But then coming back around for my next pick, the value is, do I take Tua or Tyreek? Right.
So the answer there would probably be Tua, actually. But I want to hit on this point here with family. And you're concerned here about Carr and your super flex knowing you have to start two of them. I'd just say with this year in particularly,
Carr struggled, man.
There are no good quarterbacks entering into the league this year. And there is such a dearth of what NFL would consider their franchise-able quarterbacks. There's only really 14 at most of them.
Yeah.
Carr 100% is going to be a starter in this league, and he's going to give you his Derek Carr stuff. He's going to be the 18th best quarterback in the league, which as number 2 in a superflex is perfectly fine. Where you're going to get in trouble is people rolling the dice on essentially the next coming of Malik, or who's the one who bounced around 16, lost to Kansas City and Tennessee, Bob? Bob, who was that? Which of that quarterback was it? He ended up in Green Bay this year. When he was at Tennessee, he lost to Kansas City because he couldn't complete a pass.
Malik Willis.
Yes, that is what Shedeur Sanders is. And Shedeur Sanders is going to be the second quarterback in this draft. You don't need to worry about the existing quarterbacks.
Before you rant about that, I want to ask you this question, and this just goes to our discussion about Superflex off of this draft a little bit, but it's a telling story. We're talking about Derek Carr, but I want to, and we're not talking about best ball. We're just talking about regular rankings. So my question to you, Joe, is which player would you rather have? This is a would you rather. I agree with Terrence here about that.
Shedeur is 100% Malik Willis. He might be worse than him. Shedeur Sanders is going to suck. He will destroy a franchise.
I don't think he's Malik Willis at all. I disagree with that completely, 1,000%.
Malik Willis this time in the draft process was the 5th pick in the draft.
Let me say this, though. While I don't like Shedeur is probably light years ahead of Malik Willis, and everybody
he's not accurate. He's less
knows
athletic.
How much I dislike Malik Willis as a fantasy player.
He's not accurate enough to be an NFL quarterback.
Regardless, he's not as terrible as Malik Willis, dog. He's not. Malik Willis.
We'll see. Bad. At this point in the process, Malik Willis was the 5th pick in his respective draft.
I just want to bring this up, okay, as an experiment here. Joe, who would you rather have? Jalen McMillan, Downs, Allen, Kupp, or Derek Carr?
For a best ball or for
a Superflex dynasty, what would you rather have?
I mean,
let me take McMillan out of it.
If I take Carr here, I've already taken 2 legitimate players above him.
No, let's say let me ask you this. So, do you think your team is primarily better if your draft goes like this in a Superflex best ball or in a Superflex dynasty? You get J. Jeff at 10, You go out and you get Brian Thomas Jr. at 15. Then you come back at your next pick. Say this is just a traditional flow here to what's happening. And let's say you go out and you get T. Higgins in the third, and then you come back around. You still ignore quarterback. You pass on C.J. Stroud. You pass on Sam Darnold.
See, I would take Stroud there. I would take Stroud.
So there is a quarterback above Derek Carr that you would stop at in a super flex league.
Yeah, I would have taken Stroud there. Given that roster you just gave me, I would have taken Stroud.
Yeah.
Willis.
Yeah. I mean, again, just you might. I mean.
Oh, and for the super flex, that's where he's projected at being at. You won't get in for instance, in this draft right here, best ball, BJT was 11th. So with the quarterback inflation, you're absolutely going to have him on the board at 15.
Even in a superflex dynasty, I do think that he has a lot more value in a superflex dynasty by all stretch of the imagination. I really do.
Yeah, but he's not jumping ahead of the other people ahead of him on this list.
I don't think people will take him over Gibbs. I don't think people will take him over Nakua or CD. You could get somebody to take him over a quarterback, but someone gets him very early second. He could go pick 13, pick 14. Which would then probably leave you with a good amount of talent.
Well, then you're going to get Nakua instead, and that's
but I will
still
tell you
value.
This, Joe. The one quarterback in a superflex dynasty that I'm not taking is Anthony Richardson, who is right now in some rankings quarterback 14, quarterback 15. And if I could get Josh Jacobs over Anthony Richardson or AJ Brown or Jonathan Taylor over Anthony Richardson, so your point is proven and disproven at the same time. There are quarterbacks that I would buy up on in a superflex dynasty. There are quarterbacks that I don't want at all, and I think that there's better value at different positions.
See you, family.
Speaking of that, family, thanks for joining us. And for everybody out there, we are going to be back on Monday at 3:45 Eastern. At 3:45 Eastern, and it will be the day after the Super Bowl. What we got going on here, leading up into the Super Bowl here, we've got a couple teams still remaining in our playoff best ball football. Hopefully we pull this out. If we pull this out,
we got some full rosters left, guys.
It will be beautiful. It will be beautiful if we pull it out. Also on Monday, we're going to go in and talk more strategy. We're going to talk in. You heard us arguing a bit about some choices this week, but that's what this is all about. It's about getting it right in the process, thinking about from a draft to draft perspective. What are we doing? What's our portfolio look like? What are we doing with that? And we took a lot of rookies today. We took a lot of rookies today.
And that could be fun. We come back, look at this roster. They could be sweet.
And we'll probably compare a couple of the rosters that we put together. We'll most likely like the rosters a little bit more without the rookies at this point in time anyway. But again, those rookies could pay off in the end. They've paid off for a lot of NFL teams. And bring us your questions Monday, 3:45 Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully, Joe, who you rooting for in the Super Bowl here?
Anyone but Mahomes. Actually, anyone but Kelsey. Let me say that right. Anyone but Kelsey.
I am also, I will say, if Kelsey wins, he's gone, right?
I think he's gone regardless, but that would at least be a nice consolation prize because I do not want to see Taylor Swift all night.
Joe, can we put this as like a caption on it to remind us? I love this comment. If we keep this as a reminder for us, we put it up like one of those motivational cat posters.
Hey, I love the backfield quarterback, especially when it starts with Gesicki. Until the point where Gesicki starts climbing out of not being able to get him in the back three, I think that's just going to be our default setting for a while. I think that's the right answer.
I love it. But we'll be with you again, 3:45 Eastern on Monday.
Welcome to Local Football Flavor, connecting the fan bases of the NFL.